Yes, everybody, welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm Jacob Turner, still in Kenan Stadium at the time of this podcast coming out. It's very unpublished, Andrew Jones. I'm just kidding. I hope by now, when this podcast comes out, he's at least not sitting in the cold right now. I'm sure he's probably still in Kenan grinding it out, but it's our very unpublished Andrew Jones.
It's 9:41. I'll be here for a while.
Yeah, you will. You bat on the elements out there too, man, but we do it for the people. That's what you get here at TarHeelIllustrated.com. By the way, awesome promo going on right now, AJ. I mean, we're basically I don't know if people realize we're basically giving a 1-year subscription away. Yeah. Right. And that's basically what it is at this point. Unbelievable.
75% off.
It might as well be free. It's like, what do you say?
Remember the promo code is Rivals 24. I can't remember.
I believe it's Rivals 24.
Yeah.
Rivals 24. You'll find it on our website.
Rivals 24. It's all over. It's in every article that we have run. I've tweeted. I think it's pinned on our Twitter at Heel Illustrated, but 75% off for 1-year subscription, Black Friday special. It works out to $2.08 a month.
It's like a pack of gum.
Not even a pack of gum. I bought a pack of gum the other day and it was like $3.79.
I believe it, man.
So $2.08 a month, and we are loaded with intel about stuff that's happened this week. Trust me.
Absolutely.
We got a ton of intel about how things have played out, about where things stand. And we will continue to have that. So my post yesterday afternoon alone on the board, I didn't run a front page story. We didn't talk about it on YouTube. That post alone is worth it. And 75% off. This is the best deal we've ever run. And we're running it at a time where there's a coaching search. There's signing day coming up. There's the portal coming up. There's lots of basketball stuff. David Sisk film reviews. That's worth it. That's worth our regular rate.
Yeah.
And the message boards are an amazing community to hang out in. So it's a no-brainer, guys.
Oh, yeah.
75% off. It's only going to last a couple more days. So jump in now. Just $2.08 a month. It's a no-brainer. If you care about Carolina football and basketball, you should be involved. You should sign up and be a part of our site.
Especially for that price, man. Like I said, we might as well be giving it away with you getting that price for a year. 75% off. Links in the description below. Head on over. Promo code will be over there as well. So just make sure you enter that promo code when you sign up. And yeah, man, take advantage before it's too late. But AJ, we decided to hop on a separate podcast. Again, this isn't going to be some crazy long podcast, but we just wanted to sit on here and kind of rehash Mack Brown's press conference in particular instead of trying to tie it in with the three things. Is obviously it was his final press conference at North Carolina. We had, put out on our message boards a few days ago that he, wasn't going to coach in the bowl game. Mack confirmed that tonight. So this is Mack's final game as a North Carolina football coach. He will be out tomorrow. I think, has to clean out his office and they have the senior dinner tomorrow night as well. So he'll be officially gone tomorrow. And then a new dawn will begin in Chapel Hill whenever that new coaching hire is announced. But AJ, you were obviously there, and I know Mack didn't field any questions. His press conference was about 16 minutes. He just kind of talked through different things and what was kind of maybe going into the decision of him not wanting to leave and how it ultimately played out, and his opinions on that as many other things. So, I mean, I don't think this is, you're a guy who's been in this business for a long time, AJ. I know this is not your first final press conference that you've been a part of, but walk me through it a little bit. And let me ask you this too. Was it unique? I mean, like I said, you've been a part of these press conferences before. Was it any different than ones you've covered in the past? Was it, what was it like being in that press conference earlier this evening?
They're all different, just like every coach is different. Mack didn't take questions. I think that makes it very different because as he's sitting there talking, I'm about 6 feet away from him, and I'm thinking in my mind, I've got a dozen questions rolling through my head. So he starts going on one thing. I'm like, I got a question about that. Another thing, I got a question about that. And I wish we could have asked him questions. I understand why he didn't answer them because he knows that some of the questions are going to zero in on a few things that he just doesn't want to discuss publicly. And I was going to ask a couple of those questions. The first question I was going to ask, and he hit on it in increments about how the conversations with Bubba took place on Monday and how Bubba wanted him to wait until Friday. And that's what I've reported. That's what I've been told. Bubba wanted him to wait until Friday and announce his retirement. Mm-hmm. And then they would have the game the next day and he'd be gone. Mack didn't want to do that. He didn't want to distract from the game. There was a significant disagreement with that and about the timing, how it had to happen, that Bubba and the people that are looking for the new coach needed to get involved. North Carolina needed to jump in front of some other schools, be the first P4 school involved. And the bottom line is I just felt like, and what I've been told, and I'm not going to go into too much of what I've been told here on this, but a change had to be made. And we kind of knew that there was a strong preference in the athletic building to make a change for some time. I know that there have been some conversations that have taken place. And Mack, I think, did his best to sort of hit on some of those points. But some of the things that stood out from what he said was he never mentioned Bubba by name, at least the first couple of times. It was athletic director of athletic Cunningham, or whatever it was.
Yep.
There's no secret that that's not a very amicable relationship right now. And they disagreed on how a legend, a Hall of Famer, was going to walk off into the sunset. So does he walk off in the sunset amid cheers? Does he walk off into the sunset amid thank yous and a big party? Or does he walk off in the sunset kind of more alone without some of the fanfare that generally someone like him with his achievements you would think would deserve? And Bubba felt like the change had to be made. Mack did tell us that he kind of hinted at times that he and Sally kind of knew maybe this would be it. I was told after the press conference, I missed something after it was all over. I went over and talked to Kamen Rucker for a minute, and then I rushed up to the press box to get stuff loaded, that somebody of note was down there and said that there are some people that are upset with how Bubba handled this. So Mack has some support still on his side, especially how this was handled. I think what it is, to be perfectly honest with you, Jacob, is I'm sitting there watching him, and I've known Mack for 6 years now. And I will acknowledge that I like Mack. I like Mack a lot. I like him because he's never made it difficult for me to do my job like a lot of coaches do. A lot of coaches go into a media situation and already feel like we're the enemy when we're not the enemy. Oh, the media's just out to get you, when by and large, most of us are not out. Not all of us are Greg Doyle. Very few of us are. So we just want to report. We want to report accurately. We want to make sure that we build a working relationship so we're not inaccurately reporting things, or, which has always been something I've told every coach I've covered when I've had the opportunity to have conversations with them, is that I want to know what's going on so I can deflect when a narrative grabs hold and becomes a big story of something that's not true, especially when it comes to, there were some issues when Larry Fedora was here with players having some mental health problems. And there was a lot of speculation about stuff, and I would plead with the program, like, tell us some things here so I know what to swat away, what to deflect. And Larry wasn't so great at that. Mack was damn good at that. And I appreciate that because it's fair to the kids that we cover. It's fair to our readers. And obviously it's fair to us, the journalists, because we aren't having to retract stuff. And we've never had to retract anything. So So I'm looking at this man standing up there, hitting on a bunch of these points, and I felt bad for him. I felt bad for him because this wasn't on his terms. And a guy who's achieved what he has should always walk out on his terms. It should be that way, but it wasn't that way. And it was very clear that the disagreement with how to do this was a pretty damn big deal when Bubba is on the phone 5,000 miles away in Hawaii and says, you're fired. Had to do it. He felt like he had to do it, and he did it. So Mack told the team after practice on Tuesday, he knew, told the team after practice on Tuesday, they were shocked. The players didn't see it coming. They're very tunnel visioned about a lot of things. They don't know a lot of people are talking about. They don't go read our game threads when they're at Boston College and everybody, all the drunk guys are on there saying, fire the coach, fire this guy, Mack's a disgrace. They're not rolling through that stuff, reading those things. They're very much in sort of a football box during the season. So they were stunned. And they kind of, after practice, each one of them went up and gave Mack a hug.
Yeah.
So then they prepared for a rivalry game. A lot of them wondering what their futures are, who's the guy that's going to come in. So it was a very difficult, challenging week for the kids. To lose the way they did is tough, but I think very quickly people are cutting the cord to things, and they got to figure out what they're going to do. We're in a new world, college athletics. You can lose your roster pretty quickly, which is why they needed to get Mack out of here so they can have they can have candidates tour this building without Mack being in the way. And I hate to put it like that, but that's true, and Mack addressed it. So those are my takeaways from the presser. It didn't go well. The relationship isn't great. Mack's gone. Bubba is now going to have an opportunity to hire someone who's going to inherit a program in much better shape than it was when Mack took over. You think about the things that Carolina's got going for it now with the new coach than it had when Mack took over. Let's look at finances. The facility, that building right there, is in great shape. They don't need to spend money on that. They would like a bigger locker room. They would like a bigger weight room, but they don't need to have that right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. They've also, the Rams Club has all the scholarships taken care of. There's going to be an increase in scholarships. Rams Club's got taken care of. No issues. The revenue sharing that takes place starting next summer, $20.5 million. It's already covered. Football's going to go from $4 to $12 million in NIL money. Revenue sharing's there. The kids are going to get more. The base for each kid's going to go up. Carolina's going to be more competitive there. So all that's taken care of. So in raising new money, Matt raised so much money for things in the building, that money now could go directly to the program. They're in a much better operational position now than they were when Mack came in, and Mack has a lot to do with that. And the university's done a very good job. You and I did that podcast after the JMU game about how there needs to be a better commitment to football. Well, one of the things I learned in the following days was how much commitment there had been behind the scenes that a lot of us just didn't know. And there had been more. That they spent more than twice on the Mack era when you compare the numbers to the Larry era. And that's when you equal the dollar signs, having the same value for the dollar. So they made that move. And I think, quite frankly, and I talked to somebody, two people about this who were knowledge of the situation, that the appearance of firing a Mack Brown, while it may be messy right now in Chapel Hill with a lot of people, and there are a lot of people that have different points of view on it, outside this bubble, people around the nation are saying, man, they had the guts to fire Mack Brown, one of the most liked people in athletics anywhere in this country, in any sport in this country. They had the guts to do that. They mean business. So they're going to try to capitalize on that. So I felt for Mack. He's not going out the way he would want to go out, but he said all the right things today, Jacob. Mm-hmm. He said all the right things. He's going to move on, move forward. And I would think maybe in a couple of months, he's going to wake up one day and maybe be glad this is all over with. He had a hell of a run.
Oh, yeah.
But the run's over. It probably needed to be over.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can look at it all you want, and you can analyze this and analyze that and talk about Bubba and Mack's relationship and, willingness not to invest in the program anymore from a, athletic standpoint. All that's great, man, and I get it and I understand it. It plays a factor, but AJ, at the end of the day, man, this is what I've been telling people. Win enough football games, man. AJ, if Mack Brown's 12-0 right now, we're not having this conversation, man. I mean, I know that's an oversimplification of everything, but at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. We don't go to these games to, fans don't go to games to watch their team lose. They go to watch them win. And that's what leads to all these other problems and everything like that. So yeah, I think people can lose sight of that a little bit and look at all these other things that are going on behind the scenes. But again, if Mack's 11-1, heck no, be 10-2 right now. Who knows? We're having this conversation, and it's not just this year.
10-2 and JMU did not happen.
Yeah. And it wasn't just this year too. It was a culmination of things. People and fans know that. But again, there's so many things that go into it. But if Mack would have won more football games in the last few years, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, because that's what these sports are about. So
the movement was well underway before the Minnesota game to do this. But to be honest with you, what Bubba Cunningham needed was the James Madison game.
He needed that moment of no return at most. Yeah.
And that was the moment of no return.
Yeah. And I get it.
We kind of talked about it. You and I talked about it afterward. And, I'm covering a team and I'm looking at a lot of different factors, and I have no emotional investment. So sometimes I'm not feeling the disgust that a fan feels, right? I'm just looking at raw stuff. I'm looking at, hey, Orange Bowl, first time in 71 years. Hey, 9 wins, 8 wins. They haven't been doing that. Mm-hmm. They've only had one season since he had left with more than 9 wins, and that was in 2015. And then Mack is at 9, I'm thinking, what if he wins 9 again? That kind of thing. That's the way I'm looking at it. Mm-hmm. But in the end, people weren't showing. The place wasn't full today. And shame on Carolina fans for not filling this day. I know it's cold, but Mack was here. His last game. If you wanted it to end, show up. I know they said the students are out because it's Thanksgiving.
There's like 18 students there.
but if this game was in Carter Finley, it would have been full.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be.
Carolina fans don't want to hear that. And I'll tell you what, the next coach saw that.
Of course.
So, there's a lot of people that have a hand in all kinds of stuff, and we'll get into that down the road. But with respect to today, I felt bad for him, but in a way I feel good for him because he doesn't need this crap anymore.
Yeah, man. If I was 73 years old, I wouldn't be doing it.
And they could be looking at a rebuild year anyway. And does he want to go through that? Now you get a new coach in there. You could quickly add some stuff to the roster because NIL is going to be different. They know that there's money to spend because they're going to have that money. And a new lease on life. Bryce Baker is at Penn State this weekend.
Not great.
I'm sure he had a great time. I'm sure it was really cold up there, colder than here. They kicked the crap out of Maryland. New coach going to have to come in, and if it's before Wednesday, it's the first phone call he's got to make.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's one other reason why they had to do it then, because signing day was moved up. Signing day is Wednesday. It typically would be 2 weeks later, but it's Wednesday. And then the portal for North Carolina is actually already open. On Wednesday, North Carolina players were allowed to formally enter the portal. Mm-hmm. So they can still do it. I imagine there'll be some news here in the next couple of days. Kudos to the kids for not doing it just yet and staying with the team through today.
Yeah.
There were reports about a couple of kids. We checked on it, and multiple sources at the school said it hadn't happened. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it hadn't happened. So there's a lot that's going to happen here fast, and that's why they need to get in the process. So when they play this final game, they got people lined up to come visit this place.
Yeah, man. Massive and massive, if I can talk, massive offseason ahead for the North Carolina football program. And the Fedora era ended with a brawl against State at home. The Mack Brown era comes to an end with a fight, well, not say brawl, against NC State at home. It kind of felt like deja vu all over again. A new dawn is ahead. Is fast approaching in Chapel Hill. We'll be here to cover it, and we'll see what happens with that, man. It'll be a fascinating ride no matter what, because I'll tell you what, AJ, winning, losing, all that, it is what it is, but there's never a dull moment when it comes to Carolina football. I'll tell you that for free. So, a lot of interesting things ahead for the Tar Heels. But let's go ahead and get out of here, man. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. He's got about 16 stories to go right. I got a couple podcasts I need to edit myself. 10 p.m. though, not bad. It's not horrible.
Warm up.
Not great. Yeah, get some. This
is open air, man. It's really cold in here.
It was cold out there tonight, man. I don't know how you're doing it. You're powering through. You're out there.
Let me say one thing. I complain about the fans. I criticize them. I probably wouldn't have sat out there because it's easy for me to criticize from the press box. So I understand that. I understand that. So when you fire your complaints and criticisms, I understand that.
I was sitting out there, so I can sit here and say, if you didn't show up, shame on you, because I was sitting out there, so you should have showed up.
I can still say it because I feel like saying it.
I'll say it for you.
We got a promo, $208 a month for a winter subscription.
208. Make sure you sign up. I know
Rivals 24. Jump on it now, guys, and you can give it as gifts.
Yeah,
so you can pay a regular 1-year rate and give away 3 as gifts. What the heck is going on? I think that was a helicopter just took off.
Probably trying to.
The hospital's right there. All right, let's go, man. I'm freezing.
Yeah, let's get out of here, man. Links in the description below. Go ahead and sign up. Awesome promo going on. It'll end soon, so make sure you guys take advantage. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Like, share, subscribe. Notification bell, too. See y'all next time. Thanks.